today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to talk about a pedal. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. And in this case, we reconnected with our friends from NUX and reunited, and it feels so good.
Right.
I'd sing it to you, but it would be painful. We were able to get in the Diamond 63, part of their Reissue series. It's got chicken head knobs and this type of grill cloth. I think it's one Voxy lady, if you ask me. So it is nice. An iteration of a.
You ever played a Vox?
I played my friend's AC-30, but only in his studio, never on a track. But I've played it. And I have a Mesa Boogie Transatlantic 30 that does have a top boost. It's kind of Voxy, but I don't know.
I think the only Vox I've ever plugged into was your little
the Pathfinder.
Right. That's not. And maybe I think one time we were in a guitar store and we plugged into a Vox together in Mechanicsburg.
Oh, yes. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I don't have a lot of personal experience with the Vox, and then besides hearing them in recordings for years.
Right.
So I guess the disclaimer here is,
as per usual,
right? Because there has to be disclaimers, right? We're just always out of our depth. I can't tell you this is going to sound like a 63 Diamond Vox.
Right.
Not even an AC-30. I think it's going for that specific one. Can't tell you. But what I can tell you is it sounds really good.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And I think we both approached this from a very rhythmic kind of like rhythm guitar aspect tonight. So we have 4 clips for you. Real quick, you have a volume, a master, and a cut, and then a top boost switch. And just think of volume, like for me, it would be gain, and then master would be volume, right? So for you master volume amp people, this makes a lot of sense, right? Crank the gain, put the master where you want it. And then the cut is interesting because all the way down is like letting full treble through, and then as you roll it to the left, you're cutting treble.
Right.
So it's kind of like a backwards tone knob, maybe a little bit. And then, but I mean, do some tone knobs like add treble maybe? Because I feel like with it all the way down,
it should be bassy on a regular not
pedal,
a cut, on a regular, yes.
But like all the way up is super trebly on it, and I don't feel that that's the same with this all the way down.
I hear what you're saying, right? No, it's not ear darty. It gets bright,
right? And then you can. But I never felt like we were past. I don't think we ever even got to halfway up. We were always kind of down there.
Right.
And then you have the top boost. And the top boost switch, maybe you know better than me what it does. I thought, oh, that's going to add a bunch of treble, but I don't think it's maybe more presence. Maybe
it does feel like more of a presence knob. It gets a little fatter. It does get a little brighter, as you'll see on when we get to my first clip. It gets a little. Well, there's a good segue. Look at
your first clip.
First clip. Played the bad boy over there with the Beards. We struggle with this all the time.
It's 50th anniversary. 60th anniversary. What's it say on the neckplate?
Oh, right there. I'm looking. This is really great. 60th anniversary. I'm looking for the sticker because I've got a 50 in the stickers up here. 60th anniversary Strat through the Tyler JT22 with the Echo Tour. Started out, I had the drive, the volume pretty good, and the master compensating for that. So there was a lot of drive on it. And I played some big open chords, and then I flipped the top boost up on the second pass. So you'll get to hear what it does.
And it's dramatic.
It is.
And it's good.
And it sounds like this.
Before we jump into the next clip, I did want to point out there is a battery compartment on the back, which is cool. A lot of pedals today.
Right. just bypass that altogether.
Yeah, just, why? Because everybody has a power supply of some sort. But I thought that was neat to point out. So, and it feels good.
Well,
man, that switch. That
solid switch.
Peaked right. So it feels good. For my first clip, and basically what we're doing with this is we're like, what if we grab some classic guitars? Start with the Strat. I moved to a SG Jr with a P90 in it. I think Pat then had a Telecaster and then maybe a 335 coming up. So just some classic guitars. What's it sound like? I grabbed this, and then for both this clip and the next clip, I've reached out to a band that I've been just listening to a lot lately. Tom Young and the Dead Rascals. Interesting stuff. So here is the first clip.
All right, so as the Beard mentioned, we tried to grab some classic guitars for this very classic amp. This happens to be a 93 Mexican Tele that went through an extreme makeover with twisted Tele pickups, Bigsby, and a
Mastery
Bridge. And so I, like the Beard, tried to go to some tracks I've been listening to a lot lately, and it's a new artist that I really like, and so I played something from Petty Stones.
So for my last clip, I grabbed the my 335, which yesterday, 2 days ago, I put new strings on because it was so dead before, and it hasn't been played a lot on the channel because of that. So wanted to see it make a reappearance. So here's my 335. I might have watched Mick totally got that new 3. It's not a 35. It had a very tone in it and stuff, but might have watched him get that and was like, oh, I want to play mine. So that, and one of the guys from the Dead Rascals, the rhythm guitar player, I think plays it a lot. So anyway, just wanted to try some humbuckers through the Diamond. Sounds like this. So that was 4 clips we have for you tonight. Some final thoughts.
Well, I won't say this is an official endorsement, and I didn't ask his permission to say this, but my last trip down to visit with David Barber, I took a slew of guitars and I took a number of pedals, and I had this one in there. And a couple ones from maybe a little higher end maker he wasn't wild about. But we plugged in the Diamond. He goes, "Okay, that's pretty good. Like, so that's pretty high praise for a $60 pedal.
If you know,
like, that's pretty good because the other ones probably didn't get unplugged fast enough. Like, he put it in and just unplugged it. That one he left on and played a little bit, and so that's probably a high praise.
That probably sounds the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, or that you could use that or something. It was that's high praise,
right? And I saw another guitar player demoing this pedal, who I think is a great player and is a knowledgeable guy. And he was like, wow, that really sounds like the Vox I used to have in my studio.
And I like the space that it put us in. You alluded to that earlier. Because even though I have the Mesa Transatlantic 30 with the top boost, I was lazy and I used it as a pedal platform. So I never even tried to drive it too much. So this we got to drive it and get a little bit of that Vox tone out of it. Because I have had a little bit of reference to that AC-30 I played before. And like you said, listening to how many recordings, Tom Petty and the Stones, and it goes on and on and on. But.
Well, and they say, I say they say because I don't know.
9 out of 10 dentists.
That if you have a Vox, to get that sound, you really have to play it loud. Brutally loud.
Probably not untrue, although you have the master volume. But yes, to get it to break up that way and get that crispiness, yes.
Yeah, even with the master volume, probably running it pretty hot. So you can do this on like our JT22 back here at a much more manageable volume when you're in the room.
Right.
So being very uneducated about Vox amps. And this is, I know what I like, and that's what I always plug into. Right. And maybe I should branch out and experience more amps. But I found it cool. Kind of reminded me almost of like, should I say it? Kind of reminded me almost of like the sound I go for a lot of times with like the tweed pedals I get.
Right.
Just that kind of real raunchy when you crank that up. But I got some stuff out of it I really liked. I found the cut knob to be nice. There was a couple times when I plugged in, I was like, ooh, too much treble. If I roll that back a little bit.
Just a little bit, not even much.
Yeah, it really cleaned up. And then a couple times when you threw that top boost on, kind of feel like on the 335, I kicked the top boost on and just kind of opened things up a little bit. So, well done, NUX. Like it.
I like it too.
Anything else?
No, we now have a Vox amp.
Yeah, this will be our Vox amp.
We've had a Dumble down here.
So now when people ask,
we played.
Yeah, I played a Vox, played a Dumble, played a Klon.
Anyway.
So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking. If you take time to hit the subscribe button, we really appreciate that. That's what helps us form relationships with cool companies like NUX, who always sends cool stuff.
They do.
And we appreciate that. And with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.